April 1st, 1945, 5:30 in the morning. Grey light creeps across a landscape of mud and broken concrete. The Ruhr River flows silent below German defensive positions carved into the eastern bank. Hauptmann Karl Brenner, 34, iron cross pinned to a threadbare uniform, walks the trench line. His boots squelch through ankle-deep water. Behind him, two skeletal horses strain to pull a 75mm artillery piece into position. Brenner stops at a supply wagon, opens a crate. Inside, black bread, the colour of coal, sawdust compressed into loaves. He breaks a piece. It crumbles like dirt in his hand. A young soldier nearby gnaws at his ration, chewing slowly, mechanically. Brenner moves to the fuel depot, NOT, 3 rusted drums marked reserve. He knocks on each one, hollow, hollow, half full. In the distance, church bells toll 6 o'clock. The sound drifts across the valley like a funeral dirge. Brenner pulls out a pocket watch, his father's, from the First War. Checks the time. Winds it carefully. Everything is running out. 11 o'clock in the morning. The same morning. Brenner descends concrete steps into the division command post. Water drips from ceiling beams. Maps cover the walls, marked with red and blue grease pencil. The air smells of damp earth and stale cigarette smoke, lingering heavy. The division commander hunches over a field radio. Static erupts from the speaker. His aide frantically adjusts the frequency, hands shaking nervously. Hauptmann, the Americans crossed the Rhine 2 days ago. 9th Army from the north, 1st Army from the south. He traces 2 arrows on the map with a thick finger. They curve sharply inward like closing jaws. We are here, they are here, and here. His fingers meet. The encirclement is completely clear now. How many of us are trapped, sir? 300,000, perhaps more. Army Group B, what remains of it? Brenner stares at the map. The pocket is perhaps 50 kilometers wide, shrinking every hour. Orders from Berlin? Hold at all costs. Wonder weapons will turn the tide. Each day of resistance brings final victory closer. Wonder weapons, sir. The Führer has promised new weapons, jets, rockets, things we cannot yet imagine. When? Soon. How soon? Dietrich meets his eyes. In that moment, Brenner sees the truth clearly. The old man doesn't believe it either. We hold this position. We make them pay dearly for every single metre. That is our solemn duty. He rolls up the map with shaking hands. Prepare your men for sustained defence. Ration ammunition carefully. 1 shot, 1 kill. Understood? Understood, sir. Brenner salutes, turns to leave. His boots echo on the concrete floor. Hauptmann. Brenner stops, turns back. At Stalingrad, you held for 93 days. We need that strength again. Stalingrad had a river to cross. The enemy had supply problems then. And here? Brenner looks at the map one final time. The American arrows, the shrinking pocket, the impossible mathematics of defeat. Here they have everything. 2 o'clock in the afternoon, April 1st, 1945. Brenner walks the defensive line. Soldiers huddle in foxholes, weapons at the ready. The sky is grey, heavy with clouds. Feldwebel Ernst, coach, a grizzled sergeant in his 40s, waits at the communication post. His face is weathered, eyes hard. Hauptmann, the men are asking questions. What kind of questions? Koch gestures to the soldiers nearby. They pretend not to listen, but their eyes flicker toward the officers. They want to know about the wonder weapons, when they arrive, what they are. Brenner looks at his sergeant. They have fought together since Stalingrad. Tell them what Berlin says. Soon. Koch spits into the mud. They do not believe it, sir. Neither do I. Brenner glances around. No one else can hear them. What we believe does not matter. We have orders. Orders from men who have never held this line, who sit in bunkers while we starve. Watch your tongue, Feldwebel. Koch steps closer. His voice drops to a whisper. At Stalingrad, we held because we believed relief was coming. We believed the Führer would not abandon us. I believed it, sir. You believed it. Brenner says nothing. The memory is a wound that never healed. And then? Then we ate horses. Then we ate leather. Then we ate nothing. 50,000 of us died because we believed. That was different. How? Koch waits. Brenner has no answer. The Americans have everything, Feldwebel. That is true. But we are German soldiers. We do not surrender because the enemy is strong. Brenner walks to the edge of the trench. Below, the Ruhr River flows silent. On the far bank, nothing moves. But they are there, waiting. He reaches into his coat pocket, pulls out a small wooden box, opens it. Inside, his father's iron cross from the First War. Beneath it, a faded photograph. His father in uniform, 1917. My father held the line at Verdun for 163 days. No food, no water, artillery falling every minute, half his company dead. He closes the box. He held because that is what German soldiers do. We endure, we do not break. Koch watches him. There is something like pity in his eyes. Your father fought for the Kaiser, we fight for. He does not finish, does not need to. Brenner turns to face him. We fight for Germany. Not for Berlin, not for the Führer, for the men in these trenches, for our families, for the soil beneath our boots. And when the Americans come, when they have 10 tanks for every one of ours, when they have aircraft blackening the sky, then we make them pay for every meter. We make them remember they fought Germans. Koch is quiet for a long moment, then nods slowly. Yes, Hauptmann. Brenner looks back at the river, the far bank, the invisible enemy. Prepare the men, check ammunition, improve firing positions. If we must fight, we fight well. And if there are no wonder weapons? Then we fight anyway. Koch salutes, turns to leave, stops. Sir, at Stalingrad, how did you survive? Brenner does not look at him. I surrendered, Feldwebel. When I finally understood that dying for nothing was not courage, it was waste. Koch stares at him. The words hang between them like smoke. Then, why do we hold now? Because this time, it is different. But Brenner's voice carries no conviction, only habit, the hollow echo of belief that died in the snow 3 years ago. Koch walks away. Brenner remains at the trench edge, father's medal in his hand, watching the river flow toward an enemy he cannot see but knows is there. Waiting, abundant, inevitable. 10 o'clock at night, April 4th, 1945. The encirclement is 3 days old. Brenner stands in the command bunker doorway, watching the horizon. To the north, orange flashes, artillery. To the south, more flashes. The Americans are closing the ring. Koch approaches, boots crunching on frozen mud. Hauptmann, radio intercept from division. The Americans completed encirclement at 6 o'clock this evening. We are cut off. How many trapped? 300,000, maybe more. The entire army group. Brenner lights a cigarette. His hands are steady, but his mind races. 300,000 men in a pocket 50 kilometers wide. No supply line, no reinforcements, no escape. Ammunition status? Koch pulls out a crumpled paper. Reads by flashlight. Small arms, 4 days at current rate. Artillery shells, 2 days. Panzerfaust, perhaps 20 remain. Fuel for vehicles, none. Medical supplies? Morphine exhausted. Bandages for maybe 100 wounded. No antibiotics. Food? Koch is quiet. Feldwebel. Food? 1 day. Full rations. Then we stretch it. Brenner takes a long drag. The cigarette glows in the darkness. So we have 1 day before we start starving, 2 days before artillery falls silent, 4 days before we fight with bayonets and empty rifles. Unless Berlin sends supplies. How? We are surrounded. The Luftwaffe has no fuel. Even if they did, American fighters own the sky. The wonder weapons, sir. Brenner laughs. It is a hollow sound. Yes, the wonder weapons that will arrive any moment now. Just like at Stalingrad, just like at Normandy, just like every other time Berlin promised salvation. He drops the cigarette, grinds it under his boot. I need to see it myself. See what, Hauptmann? The enemy. What we face. You want to go on patrol? Now? Brenner turns to face Koch. His eyes are hard, decided. I need to see what kind of army surrounds us. I need to see if they are as strong as the reports say, or if it is exaggeration. Koch studies him for a moment. You want to know if surrender is the only option. Brenner does not deny it. Assemble a patrol, 6 men, best we have, light weapons only. We leave in 30 minutes. And if division asks where you are, tell them I am inspecting forward positions. Brenner enters the bunker, pulls his father's medal from the desk drawer, holds it in his palm. The metal is cold, worn smooth by years of handling. A photograph falls from the drawer. His brother, taken before Normandy, smiling, young, dead now. He tucks both items into his coat pocket. If he does not return, someone will find them. Send them home, perhaps. Koch appears in the doorway. Patrol ready, sir. 6 men, rifles, 2 grenades each, no heavy weapons. Who did you choose? Corporal Müller, Private Hoffmann, the twins, Weber, and Schiller. Schiller, the boy? He volunteered. Said he wants to see Americans before they kill him. Brenner nods slowly. How old is he? 17, sir. Lied about his age to enlist. 17. Fighting for a Reich that will be ashes before he turns 18. The patrol moves through darkness. 7 shadows in a dead landscape. No moon, only stars and distant fires. They cross no man's land in silence. Every man knows American artillery could fall at any moment. Every man knows they might not return. Brenner leads. Behind him, Koch. Behind Koch, the others. Young men, old before their time. Ahead, the forest thickens. Somewhere beyond those trees, the enemy waits. An enemy with everything. Food, fuel, ammunition, hope. Brenner touches his father's medal through his coat. Cold metal, cold comfort. They enter the forest. Branches scrape uniforms. Boots sink into soft earth. And then Brenner sees it. Through the trees. A glow, not fire, something else. Electric light. Impossible amounts of electric light. He raises his fist. The patrol stops. They creep forward, silent as ghosts. The light grows brighter. And then they see it. All of them. Together. What they see will change everything. 1 o'clock in the morning, April 5th, 1945. The patrol creeps through the forest. Brenner at the front, Koch behind him, 5 soldiers following in silence. Through the trees ahead, electric light spills across the darkness. Not campfires, not torches. Electric generators humming somewhere beyond the tree line. Brenner raises his hand. The patrol stops. He signals Koch forward. They crawl the last 30 meters on their bellies. Mud soaks through their uniforms. Branches scratch faces. But they make no sound. At the forest edge, they stop. What lies before them defies comprehension. An American supply depot stretches across a cleared field. Floodlights on tall poles illuminate everything bright as noon. Rows of canvas tents, mountains of wooden crates, vehicles parked in perfect lines. But it is the abundance that stuns them into silence. Stacks of ammunition crates reach higher than a man. Fuel drums by the hundreds. Food supplies in pyramids of boxes. Medical tents with red crosses, glowing white under the lights. Brenner counts 20 trucks, no 30, all American deuce and a halves. Engines idling, waiting. Koch whispers beside him. Mein Gott. American soldiers move through the depot, casual, unhurried. One sits on a crate, eating something from a tin. Another smokes a cigarette, leaning against a fuel drum. A third throws a football to a friend. They are not sentries. They are not on alert. They are bored. Brenner watches a soldier finish eating. The man stands, tosses the half-full tin into a barrel, walks away. He threw away food. Koch sees it too. His hands clench in the mud. That tin would feed one of our men for 2 days. Brenner shifts position, looks left, more supply stacks, looks right, a motor pool, jeeps, half-tracks, all pristine, all fueled. How much? Koch understands the question. Fuel? Thousands of gallons. Food? Enough for a division, for a month. Brenner does the mathematics in his head. His entire company has perhaps 200 litres of fuel total. Here, in this one depot, the Americans have more fuel than his entire division possesses. And this is just one depot. They left it unguarded. Koch points. 2 American soldiers stand at the perimeter, but they face outward, watching the forest. They smoke, they talk, they do not expect attack, because they do not fear us. Movement near the center of the depot. A truck arrives. Parks, soldiers, begin unloading crates. They work slowly, taking breaks, drinking from canteens. One soldier opens a crate. Inside, white bread, loaves, wrapped in paper. He takes one, unwraps it, takes a bite, makes a face, tosses the rest into a waste barrel. It was not good enough for him. Koch's voice is barely audible, filled with something between rage and despair. Our men would kill for that bread. He throws it away because it is not fresh enough. Brenner watches the American walk to another crate. This one contains chocolate bars. The soldier takes 2, puts them in his pocket, walks away. The crate remains open. Dozens of chocolate bars visible inside. Corporal Mueller crawls up beside Brenner. Hauptmann, we could take this depot. 7 of us, 2 guards. We could. No. Sir, the supplies. Look beyond the depot, Corporal. Mueller looks. His face goes pale. In the distance, perhaps 2 kilometers away, more lights. Another depot, and beyond that, another. 3 depots visible from this position alone. And if we attacked? If we killed 2 guards and took supplies? Mueller understands. More Americans would come. Hundreds, thousands, with tanks, with aircraft, and they would not miss these supplies, because they have so much that losing one depot means nothing. The football flies through the air again. An American soldier catches it, laughs. The sound carries across the field. Light, carefree. These men are not afraid. Brenner watches a jeep drive past. The driver has one hand on the wheel, the other holds a sandwich. He is eating while driving, not because he is hungry, because he can. Movement at the depot entrance. A convoy arrives, 6 trucks, they park. Soldiers begin unloading. Coach counts under his breath. Ammunition, medical supplies, more food, fuel drums. That convoy brought more supplies than Berlin sent us all winter. One of the American soldiers calls out. Others laugh. Someone throws a pack of cigarettes. The soldier catches it, lights one, tosses the pack to another man. They share cigarettes like we share bullets. Private Hoffmann, one of the younger soldiers, shifts position beside Brenner. Hauptmann, this cannot be real. This must be for show, to deceive us. Brenner wants to believe that, but he knows better. If this is deception, Hoffmann, they are wasting more resources on the deception than we have for the real war. The American who threw away the bread returns. He opens another crate. This one contains canned meat. He takes several tins, studies the labels, chooses one, leaves the rest. Because he has choice. At the far end of the depot, a fuel truck arrives, begins filling the drums. The hose spills gasoline onto the ground. No one rushes to stop it. The puddle spreads, gallons wasted. The driver notices, shrugs, adjusts the hose. They spill more fuel in carelessness than we receive in requisitions. Koch grips Brenner's shoulder. Sir, we should go. We have seen enough. But Brenner cannot look away. Because he is witnessing the truth he is denied for months, years, perhaps. Germany is not fighting an army. Germany is fighting a force of nature. A soldier walks past, carrying a radio. Music plays from it. American jazz. The man moves to the rhythm, smiling. They bring radios to war. For entertainment. Another soldier sits on a crate writing a letter. A lantern beside him provides light. He pauses, scratches out a line, continues writing, taking his time. No rush, no fear of artillery, no darkness to hide in. This is normal for them. The depot commander emerges from a tent. He walks the supply lines, checking inventory. He makes notes on a clipboard, speaks to a sergeant, points to a stack of crates. The sergeant nods, calls men over. They begin moving the crates. Not because supplies are low, because organization must be maintained. Brenner looks at his own men. Hoffmann's uniform is held together with twine. Müller's boots have cardboard stuffed in the soles. The Weber twins share one rifle between them. Schiller, the boy, has no helmet, lost it weeks ago, no replacements available. And these Americans worry about organizing abundance. A truck departs, empty, driving back to wherever supplies come from. To bring more, always more. How do you fight infinity? Koch has no answer. Brenner makes a decision. We take evidence, proof of what we have seen. He points to the waste barrel where the American threw the bread. Müller, that barrel, quietly. Take what you can carry, tins, food they discarded, we bring it back. You want to bring garbage back to our lines? Their garbage is better than our rations. Müller crawls forward, silent, slow, reaches the barrel, pulls out the bread loaf, half eaten but wrapped. He finds the tin of food, still half full, finds another and another. Things Americans considered unworthy. He crawls back, hands the items to Brenner. The bread is white, soft, fresh enough that it barely stales. Brenner tears a piece, chews, his eyes close. It is the best bread he has tasted in 3 years. Koch takes a piece, chews in silence, swallows. His face is stone, but his eyes betray him. Our families starve on sawdust. They throw away bread better than our officers eat. The tin contains beef, real beef, in gravy. Brenner opens it. The smell makes his stomach clench with hunger. He passes it to Hoffmann. The young soldier stares into the tin, as if seeing a miracle. They threw this away. Schiller, the 17-year-old, takes a spoonful, tastes it. A single tear runs down his dirty face. I have not tasted meat like this since before the war, when I was 12. Brenner watches his men share the discarded food, American garbage feeding German soldiers. The humiliation is complete. But worse than humiliation is the understanding that settles over them all. If they can afford to waste this much, if this abundance is nothing to them, if they are so casual, so careless with resources that would save German lives, then what chance do we have? A flare shoots up in the distance, red, probably a patrol marker. The Americans in the depot barely glance at it. Koch wipes his mouth, looks at Brenner. We must tell division. They must know what we face. Tell them what, Feldwebel? That the enemy has so much they throw away more than we possess? That they eat better at war than we ate in peace? That they light their camps like cities while we huddle in darkness? Yes, exactly that. Brenner looks back at the depot. An American soldier walks past, pushing a wheelbarrow full of empty fuel cans. He dumps them in a pile, discarded, used once and thrown away. We treat fuel cans like treasure. They use them once and discard them. Another convoy arrives, more supplies. The unloading begins again, efficient, mechanical, endless. Sir, we cannot win this. Koch's words hang in the cold air. Brenner knows he should reprimand the Feldwebel, should remind him of duty, of honor, of fighting to the last bullet. But the words die in his throat, because Koch speaks truth. The Americans are not superior soldiers. They are not better trained. They are not braver. They are simply unlimited. No. Koch looks at him. No, we cannot win this. But division will order us to fight anyway, because admitting this truth means admitting the war is lost, has been lost, perhaps was always lost. Then, what do we do? Brenner touches his father's medal through his coat, cold iron from a war that at least made sense. When enemies were equal, when courage mattered. We survive, Feldwebel. We keep our men alive as long as we can, because dying for a lost cause is not courage, it is waste. He signals the patrol. We return, now, quietly. They crawl backward into the forest, away from the light, back into the darkness that is their world now. But what they have seen cannot be unseen. The Americans did not defeat them tonight. They did not fire a shot, did not even know Germans watched. They defeated them simply by existing, by being so abundant that waste was normal, by treating war as routine, by having everything while Germany had nothing. The patrol moves through the forest in silence, each man carrying the truth that will break them. They are not fighting soldiers, they are fighting an ocean, and you cannot defeat an ocean with a bucket. 6 o'clock in the morning, April 13th, 1945. 9 days into the encirclement. Brenner sits in the command bunker, studying maps that no longer matter. The pocket has shrunk to 30 kilometers. Food is gone. Ammunition critical. Men are deserting in groups now. Koch enters. His face is grey, exhausted. Hauptmann. Division orders attack at 1400 hours. Attack where? With what? Koch spreads the order on the table. Brenner reads it twice. Cannot believe what he is reading. They want us to counterattack the American lines, break through, restore contact with Army Group G. With what ammunition, Feldwebel? What fuel? What food for the men? The order says, wonder weapons will support the attack. Brenner crumples the paper, throws it against the wall. There are no wonder weapons. There never were. Berlin is sending 300,000 men to die for a fantasy. Sir, we must obey orders. Must we? Why? So we can die well? So some general in a bunker can write a report about German courage? Koch says nothing. He knows Brenner is right. How many men do we have fit for combat? Koch checks his notes. 87. The rest are wounded, sick, or too weak from hunger to fight. 87 men. Against how many Americans? Thousands. With tanks, with aircraft, with unlimited ammunition. Brenner stands. Walks to the bunker entrance. Outside, his company huddles in trenches. Boys and old men. Starving, freezing, dying slowly. Young Schiller sits against a trench wall. 17 years old. His face is skeletal, eyes sunken. He gnaws on a piece of leather from his boot. Müller shares a cigarette with one of the Weber twins. The other twin died 3 days ago. Dysentery. They buried him in a shell crater. Hoffmann lies in a foxhole. Fever, shaking, no medicine. He will be dead by nightfall. These are the men division wants to throw at American positions. Brenner turns back to Koch. I will not do it. Sir, I will not order these men to attack. I will not waste their lives for nothing. That is mutiny, Hauptmann. That is sanity, Feldwebel. Koch steps closer, lowers his voice. If you disobey, division will send military police. They will arrest you, execute you. Then they will order someone else to attack anyway. Then let them execute me. At least I will die for refusing to murder my own men. And what happens to your company when you are dead? Brenner has no answer. A runner arrives, young, barely 16, out of breath. Hauptmann Brenner. Message from battalion commander. You are ordered to report immediately. Brenner looks at Koch. This is it. Either obey the suicidal order or face execution. Tell the commander I will report within the hour. The runner salutes, leaves. Sir, what will you do? Brenner picks up his father's medal from the desk, holds it. The iron is cold, always cold. At Verdun, my father held the line because it mattered, because France was the enemy and Germany had a chance to win. Here, we hold nothing. We fight for men who lied to us, who sent us to die for their mistakes. So, you will surrender? Brenner looks at his sergeant, his friend, the man who saved his life at Stalingrad. I will tell the commander the truth, that we have no ammunition, no food, no hope, that ordering an attack is murder, and if he orders it anyway, I will refuse. They will shoot you. Perhaps, but I will not spend my men's lives buying time for a regime that is already dead. Koch nods slowly. Then I stand with you, Hauptmann. Whatever comes. Brenner grips his shoulder. No, you have a family, 3 children. You survive this. You go home. You tell them what happened here. And you, sir, you have no one? My brother is dead. My father is dead. My mother does not know if I live or not. I have nothing to go home to except the truth of what we did here. And that truth is, I will not murder boys for old men's lies. Brenner puts on his coat, tucks the medal into his pocket. If I do not return in 2 hours, surrender the company, white flag, march them to the Americans. They will feed them, they will keep them alive. Sir, I cannot. You can, you will. That is an order, Feldwebel. Koch salutes, his hand trembles. Yes, Hauptmann. Brenner walks out of the bunker, through the trenches, past his men. He stops at Schiller. The boy looks up. Hauptmann. Brenner kneels beside him. How old are you really, Schiller? 16, sir. 17 next month. Brenner nods. When this is over, you go home, you forget this war, you live, understand? Schiller's eyes fill with tears. Yes, sir. Brenner stands, walks on. Each step takes him closer to whatever waits at battalion headquarters. He arrives at 1400 hours, the time the attack was supposed to begin. The irony is not lost on him. The battalion commander, Major Richter, sits behind a desk. 2 military policemen stand at attention. Their pistols are drawn. Hauptmann Brenner. You are late. The attack was ordered for 1400 hours. I am here precisely on time. Why are you here and not leading your men? Because my men cannot attack. We have no ammunition, no food, no strength. You have your orders. Orders to commit suicide are not orders. They are murder. Richter stands. His face is red. You dare speak of murder, you who swore an oath to the Führer? I swore an oath to Germany, not to men who would waste German lives for pride. That is treason. That is truth. Richter nods to the military police. Hauptmann Karl Brenner. You are under arrest for refusing orders in the face of the enemy. You will be executed at dawn. Brenner does not resist as they take his pistol, take his father's medal, take everything. I have one request. You have no rights. Surrender my company. They cannot fight. They can barely stand. Let them live. Richter laughs. It is a bitter sound. Let them live? So they can go to American prison camps? So they can betray everything we fought for? They already fought. They already bled. They already died in the snow and mud for you. They owe nothing more. They owe everything until the last bullet, until the last man. That is what German soldiers do. That is what German soldiers did when we had a chance to win. Now we have nothing. No bullets, no men, no chance. Only choices. Die for nothing or live for something. Richter sits back down. Take him to the holding cell. Execute him at dawn. Then order his company to attack anyway. The military police grab Brenner's arms, begin to drag him out. They will not attack. They will surrender. Richter looks up. Then we will execute them too. Every last one. Brenner stops fighting. Stares at the major. You would murder your own men rather than let them live? I would preserve German honor. There is no honor in this, only waste. They drag him out, down to a cellar, throw him into a cell, lock the door. Brenner sits on the floor, back against the wall, alone. Tomorrow he will die. His men will be ordered to attack. They will refuse. They will be executed, or they will surrender, and perhaps some will live. He pulls out his brother's photograph, looks at the young face, dead at Normandy, 23 years old. I am sorry, I cannot save them all, but perhaps I can save some. Footsteps in the corridor. The door opens. Koch stands there. Behind him, Müller, and behind them, all 87 men of the company, armed. Sir, we are leaving. Leaving? To the Americans, we surrender together, all of us. You do not die alone. The military police are locked in the bunker. We took their weapons. Richter, tied to his chair, screaming about honor. Brenner stands slowly, looks at each tired, determined face. You will all be executed for this. Only if they catch us, and the Americans are 2 kilometers away. We walk out, white flag, hands up, we live. And if Richter sends soldiers after us? Koch smiles. It is grim but real. Every soldier in this battalion is starving, dying. If Richter orders them to stop us, they will join us instead. Brenner looks at his men, hollow faces, sunken eyes, but alive, still alive. You would do this? Mutiny? Surrender? Give up everything? We give up nothing, Hauptmann. We have nothing left to give, except our lives, and those we choose to keep. Brenner nods slowly, takes a long breath, feels something like hope stir in his chest for the first time in years. Then we walk, together, to the Americans, to life, to whatever comes next. They leave the bunker, 88 men, moving through the darkness. Each step is freedom. Behind them, Richter screams orders no one will follow. Ahead, American lines, food, medicine, survival. Brenner touches his pocket. The medal is gone, taken by military police. But perhaps that is fitting. His father's war is over. That kind of honor died in the trenches decades ago. This is a different war, where courage means choosing life over death, where honor means saving men rather than spending them. They walk through no man's land, hands raised, white flag waving in the cold night air. American voices call out, flashlights blind them, orders to halt. They halt. Brenner steps forward. We surrender, all of us. We are done fighting. An American officer approaches, young, clean uniform, well-fed. How many of you? 88. The officer looks at them. Skeletal figures in rags, barely human. Jesus Christ, get medics, get food, get blankets. Soldiers rush forward. Brenner's men stand frozen, unable to believe. The Americans are not angry, are not cruel. They are shocked, horrified at what starvation has done. One soldier hands Brenner a chocolate bar. He stares at it, cannot remember the last time he saw chocolate. Eat, you are safe now. Brenner bites. The sweetness explodes in his mouth. He falls to his knees, weeping. Around him, his men collapse, crying, eating, alive. The American officer kneels beside Brenner. You are prisoners of war, but you will be fed, you will be treated, you will live. Brenner looks at him through tears. We are not prisoners, we are free. Because in choosing surrender, they chose life, and in choosing life, they rejected everything the Reich demanded. They rejected dying for lies, rejected honor without meaning, rejected courage without purpose. They chose to live, and in that choice, they won the only victory that mattered. The war was over for them, and they survived. 8 o'clock in the morning, April 18th, 1945. Brenner wakes on a cot, real mattress, real blanket, warm. He opens his eyes, canvas roof above, American Field Hospital. For a moment, he forgets where he is, thinks he is back in Germany, before the war, when beds were normal. Then memory returns. The surrender, the chocolate, the tears. He sits up, his body aches, but the fever is gone. Someone treated his wounds, bandaged his hands, gave him medicine. A medic approaches. Young, American, carries a tray. Morning. How you feeling? Brenner stares. The medic speaks German, accented but clear. You speak German? My grandparents. From Bavaria. Eat. He sets down the tray. Eggs, real eggs, bread, coffee, more food than Brenner has seen in months. Where are my men? In the next tent, all alive, all fed. Some needed medical care, but they will recover. Brenner picks up the fork. His hand shakes. He takes a bite of egg, closes his eyes. The taste is overwhelming. The medic watches. When did you last eat? 3 days ago. Piece of leather. Before that, sawdust bread. The medic's face changes. Anger, sadness, something else. Your officers did this to you. Our officers had nothing. Berlin had nothing. Germany has nothing. The medic nods, walks away, returns with more coffee. Drink. You are safe here. Brenner drinks. The coffee is hot, real, American. What happens to us now? You recover. Then transport to a POW camp. You will be treated according to Geneva Convention. Fed. Housed. Medical care. No forced labor. No abuse. And after the war? You go home. When Germany surrenders. Soon, I think. Brenner sets down the cup. Germany will never surrender. Hitler will fight to the last German. Hitler is in Berlin, surrounded. The Russians are coming. It is over. How do you know? The medic points outside. A radio plays. News broadcast. English. We know everything. Our intelligence. Our communications. We track every movement. Every battle. Your high command has no secrets from us. Brenner listens to the radio, cannot understand the words but hears the confidence, the certainty. You have already won. Weeks ago, you just did not accept it yet. Coach appears in the tent entrance. Clean uniform, American issue, face shaved, fed. Hauptmann, you are awake. Feldwebel, you look human again. Coach smiles. It is strange to see. Brenner cannot remember the last time his sergeant smiled. The Americans gave us showers, hot water, soap, real soap, and razors, and clean clothes. He sits on the cot beside Brenner. The men want to see you, to thank you. Thank me? For what? For saving their lives, for choosing surrender over death. I only did what should have been done months ago. Koch shakes his head. You did what others would not. Division is still fighting, still dying. Richter ordered 3 more attacks yesterday, all failed, hundreds dead, for nothing. And us? We are here, Alive, warm, fed. The war is over for us. An American officer enters. Captain. Brenner recognizes the insignia. Captain Brenner? Hauptmann. Yes. I am Captain Morrison. Intelligence. I would like to ask you some questions, if you are willing. About what? About the pocket. About German strength. About morale. Brenner looks at Coach. The sergeant nods. I will answer. But I want something in return. Morrison sits, pulls out a notebook. What do you want? Information about other German units, about who has surrendered, about who still fights. I can provide that. And I want to send a message to my mother in Munich to tell her I am alive. We can arrange that through Red Cross. Brenner nods. Ask your questions. Morrison opens his notebook. How many men remain combat effective in the Ruhr pocket? Perhaps 50,000. Most are starving. No ammunition, no fuel, no hope. Why do they continue fighting? Because their officers threaten execution for surrender. Because Berlin demands it. Because they believe wonder weapons will save them. Will they surrender? If given the chance. Yes, most would, but they are trapped between American lines and their own military police. What would make them surrender? Proof that surrender means life, that Americans will feed them, treat them as human. Most German soldiers believe you will execute prisoners or work them to death. Morrison writes quickly. We are preparing leaflets, surrender passes, broadcasts to encourage surrender. It will work, but you must act quickly. Every day more die needlessly. Morrison looks up. Your surrender. Why did you choose it? Because I saw your supply depot. Because I understood we were not fighting soldiers. We were fighting infinity. You can afford to waste more than we possess. That makes resistance murder. Morrison stops writing, looks at Brenner. You saw one of our depots? April 5th. Night patrol. We watched Americans throw away food, spill fuel, waste supplies that would have saved German lives. What did you think when you saw that? That the war was over, that Germany never had a chance, that every death from that moment was meaningless. Morrison closes his notebook. Your honesty will save lives. I will use this information in our broadcasts to encourage others to surrender. Good. Let them live. Morrison stands, extends his hand. Brenner stares at it, then shakes. You made the right choice, Captain. Hauptmann. And I know. Morrison leaves. Koch remains. What now, sir? Now we wait. We recover. We go to a POW camp. We survive. And after? After, we go home. We rebuild. We tell the truth about what happened here. The truth? That we were sent to die for lies. That surrender was not cowardice. That choosing life over death was the only honourable choice left. Koch nods slowly. The men are writing letters. To families. The Americans provide paper, pencils. They will send them through Red Cross. I will write to my mother. Tell her I am alive. Tell her it is over. What will you say about the surrender? That I chose my men over my oath. That I saved 88 lives. That I would do it again. Koch grips his shoulder. We all would, sir. We all would. Days pass. Brenner recovers. His men recover. They are moved to a larger POW camp near Reims. The camp holds thousands, German soldiers from across the front, all with the same story. Starvation, hopelessness, surrender. Brenner walks the camp, sees faces he knows. Officers from other units, men from Stalingrad, survivors. One afternoon, he finds Lieutenant Fischer, the young pragmatist from his company, writing in a notebook. Fischer, you are well? Hauptmann, yes, the Americans feed us better than our own army did. What are you writing? Everything. What happened, what we saw, what we learned. so we do not forget. Forget what? That abundance defeated us. Not courage, not tactics, not will, simple mathematics. They had everything, we had nothing. Brenner sits beside him. Will anyone believe it? Some will, others will claim we were betrayed. That wonder weapons were real but came too late. That we could have won if only we fought harder. And the truth? Fisher looks at him. The truth is, we were obsolete before we fired a shot. Germany cannot fight industrial superpowers. We learned that in the First War. We refused to accept it in the Second. Brenner nods. Write it down, all of it, so the next generation knows. I will, sir. April 21st. News arrives. The pocket has collapsed. Over 300,000 Germans have surrendered. The largest capitulation in Western Front history. Brenner stands in the camp yard, listening to the announcement. Around him, German soldiers react. Some weep with relief, others with shame. Most simply, stand silent. It is over, truly over. Koch finds him. Did you hear? I heard. 300,000. Just as we were told. Field Marshal Model? Dead. Suicide. 3 days ago. Brenner closes his eyes, sees the old man, trapped by honor that demanded death over surrender. He chose his path, we chose ours. And which was right? Ours, because we are alive to ask the question. May 8th. Germany surrenders, unconditional, total, final. The camp erupts. Some Germans celebrate. Freedom coming, others mourn. The end of everything they knew. Brenner sits on his bunk, holds his mother's letter. She received his message, wrote back. She is alive, waiting for him. Koch sits beside him. It is over, Hauptmann. Brenner looks at him. No, it is beginning. Now we must live with what we did, what we chose, what we survived. Regrets? None. I saved 88 men. That is enough. What will you tell them? When they ask why you surrendered? The truth. That courage without purpose is waste. That honor without meaning is hollow. That I chose life because life was all we had left to choose. And the war? The war taught us that industrial might defeats everything else. That America had more than we could imagine. That we were fighting oceans with buckets. Fisher approaches, holds his notebook. Hauptmann, I finished. The account, everything we saw, everything we learned. He hands it to Brenner, pages filled with small, precise handwriting. What will you do with it? Keep it, share it, make sure people know what really happened here. They will say, we were cowards. Let them, we know the truth. We chose life over death. We saved our men. That is not cowardice, that is sanity. The camp loudspeakers crackle. Announcement in German. All prisoners will be repatriated beginning June 1st. Transport to Germany, release to families. The war is over. Men cheer, some cry, others simply stare. Koch turns to Brenner. Home, sir. We are going home. Brenner looks around, at the men he saved, at the faces that will see their families again, at the lives that continue because he chose surrender. Yes, we are going home, and we are taking the truth with us. That night, Brenner writes in Fisher's notebook, his own account, his own truth. He writes about the depot, about the abundance, about the Americans who had so much they wasted it without thought. He writes about the choice between dying for lies or living for truth. He writes about 88 men who walk home because one officer chose sanity over honor. He ends with a single line. 500,000 German soldiers walked into American prison camps, not because they were cowards, but because they finally understood the war was over and living was victory enough. Brenner closes the notebook, lies back on his bunk. Outside, spring rain falls, gentle, clean, washing away winter. Tomorrow, he will start the journey home, to his mother, to Munich, to whatever Germany becomes. But tonight, he sleeps, fed, warm, alive, because he chose surrender. And in that choice, he won.